Picture this. It's 7 a.m. I'm sipping coffee, watching YouTube, still half asleep. My 17-year-old walks up and asks, Dad, when I'm in my late 30s or early 40s, how will I know I'm on the right career path? Wow, I need another cup of coffee for that one. I mean, most teenagers ask about video games or weekend plans. Mine's asking questions that took me decades to figure out. That's when I knew that he's ready for this journey. Here's why that question stopped me in my tracks. It's a question I've asked myself many times over the past few decades. Hell, I still even ask it today, and I've been in business for 35 years. The fact that he's thinking about this at 17, that tells me everything I need to know about his readiness to become an entrepreneur. But how do you answer that question to a teenager who hasn't even started his career yet? Well, let me give you some context. My grandfather worked for one company his entire life. He sold life insurance, started right out of college. They assigned him to a poor neighborhood and told him to go knock on doors and sell policies. And he did. I can't even imagine doing that today. But 40 years later, he became vice chairman of the board of that company. One company, 40 years, vice chairman. These days, finding someone who's been at one company for more than 5 years seems awfully rare. People move cities, they switch jobs for higher pay, they get recruited on LinkedIn, or they just decide to ditch everything and follow their passions. So it certainly is very different now. So, how does someone know if they're on the right path, especially in a world where rules keep changing and changing fast? I had to give my curious teenager with big dreams a really good dad answer. So, I sipped my coffee, I paused, my mind churned, deciding what path I wanted to take this conversation down. Because here's the truth that most people don't want to hear. In life, there are no definitive right answers. You'll never know if you're on the absolute most beneficial career path. Never. In your career, you face moments where there's a fork in the road. Go right, take this job, this opportunity. Go left, take a different path. And here's what I learned after 35 years that you can't know which path was right until years later, sometimes even decades later. So, what do? I told him this. When these moments arise, you map out all the pros and cons of each choice. You assess your priorities and goals over the next 2 to 5 years, and then you mix that with your gut feel. And that's it. That's really all you can do. And let me tell you, I've missed plenty of opportunities in my career. For example, I was in a business partnership with a friend who went on to build a big automotive parts software business. I left in the very early stages because his mentor was really not someone I jived with. But I should have stuck it out. In hindsight, it was not really that bad, but I was young and brash, so I cut and ran. Lesson learned. Effectively dealing with people you don't necessarily like or agree with is the most important part of any career. Here's another example. I had the opportunity to interview with a large tech company during the early boom years. Several friends worked there and were making incredible money. We're talking commissions that would blow your mind for a bunch of 20 somethings. I declined, and I said I didn't want to work for a huge corporation. Smart? Well, it seems so at the time, but they all went on to leverage that experience and thrived as tech entrepreneurs. They rode the incredible tech wave. I largely missed that one. Here's the thing. Anyone in their mid-career years will have similar stories because it's part of the journey. But back to my son's question, knowing he has strong entrepreneurial ambitions like his dad, I had to give him a different perspective. I told him, the beauty of working for yourself is you can pivot as you wish. Yes, there's risk in being self reliant, and it's certainly not for everybody. But if you crave flexibility, independence, and unlimited opportunity, working for yourself is the way to go. Here's what a good entrepreneur learns, and that is how to balance impulsive business desires with practical realities. Opportunities will arise, and you'll need to make the best decision you can with the information you have at that moment. Some will work out and others won't. It's a game, and you really have to view it as such. One last piece of advice I gave him, and this is critical. Do not allow monetary fears or insecurities to be the main driving force in your business decisions. Yes, money, of course, is a big factor, but I've seen it cloud people's judgment way too many times. Promises of quick money that can lead people down suboptimal paths, usually driven by short term thinking, the quick score, All those quick scores when you're solely chasing a buck despite your better judgment can be extremely harmful to a business career. It's a lesson most people won't admit to understanding until they've experienced it themselves at least once. And I've experienced it multiple times. And each time I thought, well, this time might be different. And you know what? It never was. So here's ultimately what I told him, and that is trust yourself. You have a good head on your shoulders. It will guide you, I said. Be patient. Think through your decisions. Surround yourself with smart people. Use me or someone else as a mentor. And most of all, enjoy the journey. Because there is no right path, there's only your path. You won't know if this is the right one until you look back years from now. Well, that morning conversation lasted about 20 minutes, but I think it answered more than just his question. It reminded me why I'm documenting this journey with him. Because there are conversations that really matter, the ones that happen over 7 a.m. over coffee before the world gets loud. Next week, Pax asked me about his first business idea, and I'm going to tell you exactly what I told my son. So just subscribe so you don't miss it.